Hi and welcome back to Tankers Talks, episode 2. This time we are joined by Elliott Johnson.
Up the tankers.
At last.
We are back. It is episode 2 of Tankers Talks. Today we are joined by the one and only Masala's finest, Elliott Johnson.
How are we doing, boys?
Brilliant. How are you?
Up the tankers. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
Before we continue, here's some context. Popular TikToker Tom Garratt launched a podcast back in early 2021 with co-hosts Cal McHale and Elliott Johnson. With Tom's large following, the podcast has managed to get over 100,000 combined views on YouTube so far. A few months later, in May, the Tommy Tankers were formed. This is a story of how Elliott Johnson went from somebody we watched on YouTube to playing in the Tankers' first ever league game, to then returning to England and dropping a man of the match performance to win us our third league title, to then being a guest on our own podcast.
Elliott played in America, did a scholarship in America, so we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about Tankers. We'll be mentioning a bit of everything, a bit of Prem football, outside life. But the first question that I want to ask is, what was the reaction to when you turned up in the final? This is the final against SMPU. And there were 50, 60 people there, which was a big difference to when you played our first ever game when there was just us boys.
Yeah, I think it was unreal. I think the advertising that you lot have done for like Tankers is sick compared to like what a lot of five-a-side teams do.
Yeah.
And I think because you lot are like still at school, like everyone lives off it, doesn't it? Like the fact that you lot are posting about Tankers and like smashing people and winning the leagues and stuff. So it was led, to be fair. Like I played five-a-side for like ages down at goals with like my mates and stuff. I think that's probably the biggest crowd I've seen, to be honest.
Yeah, because I remember I walked in and you were like, "Oh, who are you playing today?" And I was like, "Oh, SMPU. Like this is our biggest game." But I don't think you realise like the scale of it, because we were all just sitting in the bar, weren't we? And then you walk out and you see loads of people down like the corridor.
Well, like, obviously I was in America after I played that first game. And then I think you messaged me, didn't you? Like, well, when are you back? And I was like, oh, back like just before Christmas. And then you were like, oh yeah, we've got a game. I think I came back, and then it was like a few days after was the SMPU game. Obviously, I'd seen you lot posting on Instagram and stuff, but I didn't realise how intense the rivalry was.
Oh yeah.
With
like
SMPU.
60 people as well. Like, I feel like because everyone was so up for it, because they all know us, it felt bigger than 50, 60 people. Like, everyone was
Well,
up.
especially because it was like the cider as well.
Yeah.
Like,
It's all kind of like compressed into
It's
the
like-
sideline. It feels a lot louder.
But I quite rate how like obviously like social media and that's really kicked off with like all like the YouTube teams and stuff like that, like with SE Dons and like there's obviously on
Rising Ballers,
Beatties,
Five Guys,
stuff like
Under
that.
the Radar.
But even Play Football's like Instagram account, like they were reposting, and they posted some highlights on that game.
Their first ever video was Alfie scoring a screamer, and then they had Jake Lang as the league manager. He was in the corner for that game as well, and he was doing his own angle.
Yeah.
And then we've had a couple videos on Goals Official, which is the kind of main HQ one.
Oh, for like goals across the country.
I think
about
about four of our goals, and then you have like people like SE Dons, Manny, like all the big teams that play at Goals follow them, and you like if you look at who are following Goals, it's like the blue ticks. It's quite insane to think that they might have seen us.
The market for it's unreal at the moment, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you lads have got what 500 followers.
Yeah,
We're on 494. Yeah, we're close.
494.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. The last 100 has been a grind, but
It's grown quite quickly, to be fair. Like, the first few hundred, it just skyrocketed.
yeah, it shot up.
Yeah,
I think we did about 100 in like 40 days or something, which is quite quick.
Yeah, but the way I think about it though is like with Masala, obviously we got the majority of our followers obviously through Garratt because he already had a big following.
Yeah,
but like
it's huge.
And then obviously like off the back of that, mine and Cal's followers went up because obviously lads that like the podcast or whatever would then start following us. But obviously with you boys, you just sort of started just doing the Tankers as a team, and then you built up a following just through
Word of mouth.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's literally word of mouth. If you look at our followers, obviously they're mostly people we know, but then you get...
No, but like 500 people, like...
Yeah, that is a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I actually got recognised at Hadley McDonald's the other day
Yeah,
by a random person.
Yeah.
He came up to me and said, "Oh, do you play for the Tommy Tankers?" I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, I watched your podcast." And I was thinking,
We got recognised.
I bet you lived off that. Didn't
I was loving it. And me and Joe went to Wireless.
Oh yeah, the Wireless.
And we wore our tankers tops to Wireless. And then everyone in the crowd was like, "Oh my god, Tommy Tankers!"
That's sick.
It was brilliant.
I've not even left that.
And there was one I was working at a co-op somewhere, and the person I was taking over, he was like, "Are you the guy who was in goal, but then is now the manager of that five-a-side team?" And I was like, "How have you just? I don't know. It's a bit weird."
To be fair, you lot were probably the only ones that, like, off the back of La Masala, like, obviously, you're the only people I know locally that like listen to it.
Mm.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
no, a few of our like
That's what I found mad, because I remember saying to like Cal and Tom, like, "Oh yeah," like, because I remember the first time I played five-a-side for you lot, I remember I was speaking to Garratt and Cal, and I was like, "Oh, I'm playing five-a-side tonight with like fans of the pod," and they were like, "Oh, that's sick." But and actually Cal went to the pub in Bournemouth to watch the England-Denmark maybe, the Euros last summer with a couple of fans of the pod as well. So like, it's sick, isn't it, like how it works?
It was quite weird how that came about as well. Didn't you just DM him, just being like, "Fancy playing a game"?
Yeah, no, I think you sent me a message saying like, "Oh, like we're from Southend, like we listen to the pod, like we're starting a five-a-side."
I sort of like after you listen to a few episodes, you sort of start to gauge where people is. I know Cal's in Bournemouth, and then Tom's like up in.
He's in Dudley,
Dudley. That's where TGF are from, isn't it? I think Dudley as well. And then I heard you speaking about like going out down Southend, Concord. So I was like, "Oh, obviously you must live around this."
I played for Concord at the time, so Ben
you had
messages
like a
me.
shirt of me in your room and that.
I've got a few
Posters,
posters, my idol. And
So
Ben goes, "Do you know Elliott?" And I was like, I didn't really know any first team players. I was just in the 18s. And you set up, and then he was like, "Oh, he plays for the first team." So I was like, "Well, he's obviously going to be good." Like National League South, it's not pro, but they're on the brink of National League, which is full-time football. They're a good team. So I was like, "Bring him down." But
and you were the first person I messaged. So like, obviously now there are so many other teams down there. We sort of built like a massive kind of community down goals, and there's so many other teams, etc. But like back then, you were the first person I asked. I was like, I watched this pod. There's a guy from Southend. He could play for us, and we were missing 2 people.
Yeah, it was Joe and Josh.
It was such a long shot, and I remember you seeing it. Like, it was obviously I needed the players. It was like the next day I needed it, so I kept checking the message, like, "See if you've seen it." And you saw it for like 5 hours. I was like, "Oh, he's just airing me." Like, what was I thinking? I was so naive. I thought bringing in a Concord first team player. I was stupid to think that. But obviously you were like, I think you're in Kent or something. And
was I?
Last
summer. Yeah.
And then you were like, if I'm from back in time, I'll play for you. And then I mean, you outside play football, and you're like, I'm a bit hammered, to be fair, or something like that, or you're like, you were like hanging or something.
Yeah, you were hanging.
Yeah, you were like, "Oh, boys, I'm hanging."
Think of the difference now, though. Everyone actually wants to play for us. Like, if we ask someone to play for us, 9 times out of 10, they're up for a game.
And the thing I respected most about what you did, one, we didn't have an Instagram back then, so you were just coming down to play for a bunch of lads you don't know. You're just literally coming to help out. And 2, you actually paid. Like, you paid the £5. Like, it's the worst thing, paying, but you paid the £5. Like, you didn't have to. Usually, if we have a ringer in and we really need them, we say, "Look, we'll cover you this week. Don't bother." But you paid.
I did offer. I
am 25. It would have been a bit embarrassing if I'd come down and maybe you lot paid for it.
No, it usually comes out straight out of the gaffer's pockets.
It's true. Yeah, that's true. Like, if I like really need a player, I'm like, anybody, I don't care, just as long as you kick a football and pay me. Or
Tankers haven't got Russian backers, have they?
Oh,
no.
Well, we did get some questions about that because we signed most of Essex. We signed a few Concord players here and there, and quite a few Bowers players. So we were getting questions about
Chelsea five-a-side.
Where the funds are coming from. But believe it or not, we do not pay our players. We've never paid for a player. Well, we paid for them to play a game, but we've never actually bought a player. So
I was thinking of doing it today, actually.
They do it off their own back. And for reference, we have SMPU tonight, and it will decide the league. So
apparently, don't they?
They're shocking.
Were you actually in second gear the whole game?
No. To be fair, there was like I think the first time I touched the ball, I think I gave it away. I was thinking, like, I can't have this.
Yeah.
I can't do this. They've got all their mates down watching us play. And I can't have a stinker.
Yeah, and in the first 5-10 minutes, I was like, He's just got back from America. He probably hasn't kicked a football in about 6 months. He's going to be a bit rusty. And then in the final 30 minutes, he just turned it on.
Yeah, right.
And then you scored, 2? Assisted 4.
Had to do it.
No, you were pivotal in that game. Because I remember, because obviously I'm like the middle player in the front three. And I was very nervous that game. Like, I was with Joe the whole day.
That's one thing. Like obviously, like
say a word.
It meant like a lot.
It meant
that's why.
Means nothing.
That's why I found it unreal because like I was just
I
like.
don't realise how much it means to us until you're there. Like
everyone was sprinting around, going absolutely nuts, and I was like, "What is going on?"
And I mean, just sprinting into walls and stuff. Like he just acts like the balls aren't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that meant everything to me, and I was so nervous, like my calves were cramping up, like I was so tense, and you were like, "Look, just relax, play your football, like you're good enough, just chill out." And then I remember we were I think it was 2-2 at the time, and we were against the ropes a bit, but we were playing all right. And then they kept on trying to play the ball into the striker, and you intercepted it like twice in a row and scored 2 goals, and then the momentum switched, and everyone calmed down a bit because we had a lead, and it just helped the game completely.
I couldn't stop creasing at all the people
on the side
taking the piss out of the really small lad for SMPU.
Gets it every week, so does Clarkey now.
Last week. Oh my.
Scott.
Scott Clark.
Yeah. I used to play against him when I was a kid. Like I've known him for ages.
He got
he
last
looked
week.
exactly the same. He looked like he does now when he was back.
Mate, the game nearly got banned from all
there was
the ref was fuming.
They were like a couple of weeks back. Our second team, Reims, would be a few weeks ago, but that
was a fraudulent.
That was a one-off. Our second team beat us. But
we did beat them 9-2.
Scott, you get done with match fixing, surely.
All the bets on at goal Southend, we just made so much money off that. So there was Reims played SMPU, and just out of the blue, like Scott Clark just kind of pushes Finn Lewis's head, who's the centre back, like out of no reason, and then his dad's on the sideline. Like obviously, he's just pushed his son's head. He's giving it all that. And then there was another one where Finn has a heavy touch and like Clarkey's just gone through.
Doesn't get the ball.
No ball. Like, he could have
it
fractured his foot. Like he could have fully done his foot in, but and then there was a little
tassel,
a little pull about.
We can all put them back.
Yeah, we can all
have a push and pull.
Yeah, and the ref he gave the ref a little push, and then he got sent off, and there was nearly like a little.
Wait, Scott pushed the ref.
Yeah, Scott pushed the ref.
I can't be doing that.
So then a week or 2 weeks after whatever, everyone is just
because obviously everyone sees Clarkey, he's kicked off to a kid, and everyone's like Clarkey.
Yeah, he was getting called a nonce. He was getting called. He has a tattoo on his neck. He was saying people were saying that he's on tattoo fixers. He was getting like it's literally all the abuse. And last week at Osrose there was, if you think about a crowd, there was about maybe a few more, probably about 80 there. 80.
There was a lot of people.
There was a lot of people, but I don't think.
What, your game versus Osrose?
No,
SMPU.
Osrose SMPU. Like the sidelines were packed, like more packed than ours. There were definitely loads more there.
I think our atmosphere was better though, in terms of everyone was on our side. Everyone was for Osrose, but they were mainly abusing the other team. Whereas when we were playing, someone went to tackle, everyone's like, get up.
We need to try and find the clip of it. I think it's on Goals Instagram or Goals Southend Instagram. You can hear the crowd, and it is loud for only 50 or
and that's Jake Lang's angle from the other side as well. I remember I had to the actual crowd you hear in the video, that's actually sound effects, because in the camera I was like, on the camera. So I had to put like an SC Dons crowd, and I actually copy and paste. It's the same crowd noise. I'm not sure if anyone noticed it, but it's the same crowd noise every single time. I noticed it. I was fuming about it, but I thought to myself, there's no way it can only pick up.
Basically, like crowd padded, you're making our game sound really.
Yeah, it sounded very similar.
It does sound good, the crowd. Like if you hear it from the other side, it's good. It's just because Ben's whining.
It's just because like next to the camera, like my mouse like up against the camera, obviously. So
obviously, because he's not just a cameraman.
I'm also the manager as well, so I'm involved in it.
We're the founders. You do the camera, the social media, and everything. It means just as much to him as it does to us, even though he doesn't kick a ball. we score, he goes mental. Because I remember he sent me mine, because I asked my goal before it got released, because sometimes if I like a goal, but obviously I wanted to hear the crowd. Couldn't hear the crowd because it was just him screaming. I was like, Ben, I love you to bits, mate, but you sound awful in this. We can't have this.
I do. I film for other teams occasionally, like if they pay me. But I'm silent in them because I'm not actually emotionally involved. Whereas Tankers, like whenever anything happens, I'm on the side. I'm like, go on, or I'm like giving out instructions, and all you can hear is me. I should have put like a mic. This is what I did that about a week after. I thought to myself, I should have put a mic tied it.
Yeah.
So maybe you should get someone else to film so you can actually like
on the sideline. I'm like in Emery on the sideline. I'm like.
Do you think you thrived off the support from the game for the SMPU? Because obviously you come in and they don't all know you, but everyone. You had a reputation because we were like, oh, we've got Elliott, he's from America, all this. Yeah. And then whenever you're on the ball, they're all going, oh, he's too good. And
no, I think I just found it funny, but yeah, like, I think it was more the fact I was like, listen, I was like, these lads have got me down to play, and if I have a stinker, there's also 60 people.
And it's on film.
Yeah, so I thought I've got to pull it out of the bag, really.
And Tom and Cal would have obviously given you some stick as well. I remember
exactly. I said. I think I remember saying to them both. I was like, oh, I think it was the SMPU game especially because I just got back from America, and I was like, watch me score like 12 own goals and just like fall over or something or do something stupid. And everyone would be like, oh, he's actually shit, isn't he?
There was one I remember in the pod where he scored an own goal and everyone was like ripping him for that. Yeah. Was that the Halloween one where you had like a blacked out face? You were like
because I was playing out in America and I scored this absolutely woeful own goal.
Explain it so we can picture it in our heads.
To be fair, I think I've got a video on my phone, but obviously that won't really do. Just
send it to me.
I put it in.
No, you're right.
Actually, I think
I don't think we put it in. I don't know if we put it on our. I don't know if we put it on the pod one actually. I think I forgot to, but basically, we was playing this team, and just for some context, the night before I'd gone out and like
can't do that, man.
I'd had a heavy one, just to put it that way, and the game was in the evening, so I had all day to recover. But I just like I don't really get hangovers that bad to be honest, but I just felt like death to be honest, and I went and played this game. And like in America, a lot of like the best players are like really like techie, like Hispanic players, like Mexican.
Yeah, they're brought in internationally.
Yeah, well, no, like not even just like local lads, especially in California, because there's like a high percentage of like, Mexican guys, and like South Americans, like they're so sick, like. I think like that's sort of what carries the MLS a bit actually in America. Like all the Latino players, like South American guys,
and the Mexicans.
But like that goes through all the leagues as well. Even when I was playing at college. But yeah, this one team I was playing, they had like a few rapid guys up top, and their keeper had like one of the biggest kicks I've ever seen in my life. Like from the deck, from the floor, from his hands, like from the deck, he was like hitting our 18-yard box, like. So as a defender, you're thinking like I've just got to be deep like always. But basically, we had a little attack, and we were quite high up, and the keeper caught it, and he's done a sidewinder like, and he's absolutely creamed it right. And I'm like running back, I'm like watching the ball come over my head. It's actually bounced in our box. From this goalkeeper kick, right? And there's a geezer obviously like on my back, and the ball's bounced in the air, and I'm watching it in the air, and I'm thinking like my goal's there. I was like, I've either got to head this back to the keeper, or he's gonna have to come out and just catch it. And the keeper's gone. I think the keeper shouted, "Leave it." So I've just stood there like that, thinking he's gonna come through and clean me out and catch the ball, and he stopped, and the ball's just hit my shoulder and gone past him.
Jesus Christ.
Honestly, like the amount of stick I've given like top level footballers for like doing shit like that, and I went and done it, but that's why I'm not proud.
This is a question I've always had in my mind. It is because everyone's got the stigma about Americans being awful at football. Are they better than, would you say, the equivalent of like an English like non-league side? Or
no. I think the overall standard in America, the overall standard in England and Europe's like across the board is so much better.
Yeah.
Because like what you got to think is we more often than not, when we're kids, we probably play like 2 sports, like seriously. Like when I was younger, I played football and I played tennis. And when I got to about 12, I was like, why do I want to be playing tennis when I can just play football? You know what I mean? Obviously, you do different sports at school and stuff.
Joe was cricket, I did taekwondo, Ben was football, I think. Were you just football?
I was football, I did a bit of tennis, I did a bit of taekwondo.
Yeah. But like, it comes to a point where you sort of probably just like, everyone more often than not just leans towards football, really.
Yeah,
football is just like,
it's just culture.
Life.
Yeah, because in America they've got like basketball,
yeah,
baseball.
literally.
Yeah,
so like,
it's not their main sport.
kids growing up will be like, have football training, then after football training they'll have basketball, or they're like doing so many sports all at the one time. They're playing baseball, basketball, like flag football, it's like American football but for kids, soccer, like you name it, like everything. So the standard of like young kids, even at like local recreational level in America, is pretty shocking compared to like what it is here. Like if I was to go over to Belfast Park on a Saturday morning, like there'll be some unreal 7-year-olds. Don't get me wrong, there are in America as well, but
less of.
Yeah, less of. Like you got kids that are playing football just because their parents want them to like exercise really. Like.
So you were the 4th tier, weren't you, in America?
What?
When
I was playing in California?
Yeah.
I don't know what it works out as, to be honest. They've got so many different leagues, but it's an amateur league. Like it's semi-pro. I don't really know whether there's like a step level for semi-pro out in America, but it was decent enough. Like there was some good players on my team. We played against some good teams, but it's not got the same like dynamic as like non-league over here, where it's kind of like, I feel like non-league over here is kind of still. Like it's a respectable level of football, you know what I mean? Like you can play non-league and actually people be like, oh yeah, like he's a footballer, like he's a footballer, you know what I mean? Whereas in America, it's sort of more like a hobby that people do.
Yeah. Do you think it's worth going out to America for like viewers who are thinking of going, or would you say staying in?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's like it sort of depends more on what you like. Having been back from America, my opinion of it's changed more so from my experiences, because I feel like the point where I was in my football career before I went to America, I reckon I could have gone further had I not gone to America.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
That's what I was thinking.
More so because I feel like in non-league, if you kind of build a reputation, like I started playing for Tilbury when I was 17, and that's obviously right. That's right in the north. Yeah. And I played two like complete seasons. I played a lot of games for Tilbury, and in the second season, I know that there was. I know there was Luton scouts and Stevenage scouts coming to watch me, right? But obviously nothing come of that. So I know that's obviously it's not like I said. I'm not saying I could have gone pro then, but I'm saying like there was someone coming to watch me at 17 when I get Tilbury. Yeah. So say for example, if I'd have played 2 more seasons and kept improving and stuff like that at 19, who knows? I could have gone into a full-time setup, or I could have gone a couple of leagues higher in non-league. But I thought that my chances of going pro were better in America, which it is a still very good chance. But I think because England is so heavily about football, like if you're involved in it at a good level, there are really good opportunities, and especially more so now, you see a lot of non-league players getting picked up by pro setups. You know what I mean? Yeah. But mate, the experience and everything else, like 100%, I think I don't regret a thing really. Like everyone I've spoken to that's been out there, all my mates that have done it, everyone loved it. We got to train every day, like treated like professionals, basically. Obviously, we're studying at the same time, so you're still technically a student, but yeah, it's class.
What did you study?
I did business management.
Oh, that's all right then.
Nice and vague. Yeah. everyone done sports management, to be fair, but I had my thinking cap on. I was like, if I change the word sports to business, that means I can literally manage any business.
Yeah, that's true. Was the lifestyle in America, were they? Because obviously in England you do typically see 15-year-olds in a park drinking, and are they a bit more reserved? Or are they
it's so different. It's so like they love boozing out there. Don't get me wrong. Like they absolutely love boozing.
It's probably because they have to wait till they're older.
Yeah. But so like what you'll see is, so like I've got an older brother. So when I was like 15, I was just using his ID.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was like 15, 16, I was using his ID. So me and a couple of my mates would like go to the pub, or we'd go to like Mayhem or Talk, like, and we'd get in.
Up the Mayhem.
Yeah, so, but in America, because obviously the drinking age is 21, it's actually really hard to get, not only to buy alcohol with a fake ID, but also to get away with a fake ID.
Yeah, it's quite
because
clear
they
you're
use
not
so
21.
often. Yeah, exactly. There's a difference between someone that's 16 that might look 18, but they're not, like 21 is quite a few years older. So when I first went out there, my first year at uni, I was 19. Well, I'm September, my birthday, so I went out in the August, so I was 19. I turned 20 in September. And I remember being so like frustrated, like not being able to go out because like you feel like you're a kid again. Like it was, and like that goes for like a lot of the boys that were out there. We were literally like going to parties and like looking at these like 18-year-olds like absolutely off their face, like on booze. But like because they abuse it, because they go away at college, they're like, oh, I can finally drink, like, and because obviously we've been drinking for quite a few years, we're like, leave it out, you're embarrassing yourself. Thinking like we're like veteran drinkers. We've been drinking for about 3 years. But no, it was good though. Like obviously, I feel like it's similar to uni over here. Like you're going out a lot of times in a week, but I suppose it's different from our perspective because we were training every day. Like we were playing football, so we obviously had to maintain quite a lot of dedication to that as well. So we'd always be going out weekends though.
Well, the facilities better.
I was going to say, I feel like they have a lot of money in sport.
Yeah, like Astro pitches everywhere. That here is you got.
I feel like I don't really like Astro pitches though.
Neither do I.
So like we all the English lads on my uni team, we like loved playing on grass because every weekend, every game we were playing on turf, like Astro. So it was like it's quite taxing on the body to be fair playing on Astro, and our home pitch was Astro, so we trained every day on Astro, but. Yeah, the general facilities. It's just like everything involved. So like for away games, we'd like meet at the our stadium before. That we'd all get on a coach. We'd get like given food on our journey.
Yeah, that's literally pro.
We'd obviously have like we'd have all our like tracksuits and our travelling gear and stuff like that.
Is that because America's trying to promote football more and they have put more money into it? Sort of?
Well, it's all about kind of like how big the uni is. So like some unis are different. Like. Obviously, our university that me, Cal, and Tom went to, the budget wasn't big at all, really. So, but we still got to do all of those unreal things. Like our complex was like state of the art AstroTurf. We had like a little stand. We had like hot bath, cold bath. We had like really good like training room, like athletic, like physio room and stuff like that.
And that was that being reused for other sports?
Yeah. So like, our complex was kind of like dedicated to like the athletics program. So.
So that's why.
Yeah, like men's soccer, we had our own locker room. It was sick. We had a TV in the locker room, so we'd watch like Premier League games before our games on the weekend. It
makes you feel better as well, doesn't it? If you're like a
mate. Like it's funny because I've never ever. Like I hate lads that are like proper big time and like want all this special treatment and stuff like that. But once you've had it, it does kind of like because like
and come back to England and it's
no, like it's quite funny because when I was in America, obviously we got don't get me wrong, like we got treated really well, but it wasn't like some universities you get like 24-hour access to physios and stuff like that. Like we were nothing like that. We were probably a bit tin pot compared to some universities.
What? So you were actually on the lower end of the scale?
Yeah, I'd say so. But then there was universities lower than us. Like some universities didn't even have their own field. They'd play at like a local high school field, stuff like that. We actually had access to like our own stadium, our own ground, like our own complex, stuff like that. But the bigger unis would have like everything, like say like the UCLA. Those sort of unis, like the big unis, they are literally full-time professionals at uni basically. But
so how do you get into those sort of like top end or with
I don't think
with a larger budget?
It's more to do with like I feel like the level isn't much difference between Division 1 and Division 2. So my university is Division 2, but what sets them apart is money. So the big schools like Yale, Harvard, UCLA. Like Kentucky, like all of these massive schools, they're in D1 because their actual like physical size of the university and the campus is like massive. They've got about 40,000 students, and also they're obviously like academically and their athletics are like unbelievable. But you have to obviously be an unreal footballer. You have to be good, but you also academically have to be unreal. So like what allowed a lot of me and like say Cal and Tom and stuff not we're saying we're stupid, because I think like we're all intelligent lads, but it's a lot easier academically to get into my university. So we didn't have to get like unreal SAT scores or in exams to get into the university.
What? So if you were like an insane footballer, even if you
so basically, if one of you lads wanted to go to Yale, I'm sure you could like say like for example, if you wanted to go to Yale, you've got to be a really good footballer. That's sort of half the battle. But like you can't be thick as shit basically, because that's what sets them apart. They're like the big schools, like they've got massive like.
Because sport's not their main priority.
No, exactly. Like these are still like huge academic schools. But say from my school, like there was loads of students, but a lot of them were online because it's like easy to get into the university academically. So like their main priority is probably sports. To be honest, that's what puts Wilmington University on the map, because we've got really good like sports programs. No one's like, oh yeah, I've got a degree from Wilmington. Everyone's like, oh my god, like you must be a brain box. Like it's not like that. You know what I mean? But when I'd be talking to people out there, they'd be like, oh yeah, I went to Wilmington University. They'd be like, oh yeah, like they've got a really good like soccer program or a really good golf program, stuff like that.
So where were you finishing in the league every year?
I don't like how it's done in America. Like they have like, so there was 13 teams in our conference. They call it our league.
Yeah.
My first year, I think we finished 3rd or 4th, but it was a bit of a transitional year because obviously you do 4 years at college. Yeah. So the season I joined, they just had like 13 players graduate, so they weren't on the team anymore. So there was a massive influx of like first years on my when I first went. But we still had a good team. We came like 3rd or 4th, but essentially when the league finishes, whoever comes first is given like conference champions, but then the top 8 go into a playoff, and then the winner of that playoff. So basically, 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5, and then it's called like the conference tournament. And whoever wins the conference tournament is basically the one that gets all the credit. That's like, oh, they won it. They won it this year, which is bollocks because literally you can come 8th in the league and win the conference tournament.
And just win like 1-0.
When realistically, like in like any football term, I think winning the league is the most valuable thing because it's like it's drawn out over a much longer period. You're playing teams home and away. It's so much harder to be consistent over 38 games than it is to be consistent over 4.
Yeah, it's a bit like Porto wouldn't have won the Prem, if you know what I mean, but they still won the UCL because they were good and just won 1-0 every game.
So basically, my 4 years there, we came like 3rd or 4th in the league my first year, and then we got to the semi-finals of the conference tournament. So it didn't really do much. My second year, we actually had a bit of a stinking year. I was injured for like 9 games. That was probably why, but Garratt and Tom wouldn't let me say that. I don't know where we come in the league that year. We might have come like 3rd or 4th again. And then we went out in the first round of the national tournament. We went out in the first round of the conference tournament.
Was that to a stinker or something?
Yeah, that was a stinker, to be fair. We beat the team we lost to 3-0 in the league, and then we lost to them like 1-0, I think. And then my last 2 years, we were unreal. We were like one of the best teams in the entire country for D2. We won the league both times. And my 3rd year, we got to the final of the conference tournament, but lost. And then my last season, we got to the semi-final of the conference tournament, but we won the league. But basically, there's also the national tournament as well. So you play the league, you play your conference tournament, and then throughout the entire season, you get ranked nationally across like, because obviously America's so big, there's so many different divisions, so many different conferences for Division 2, let's say. So yeah, you get ranked nationally, and then you go into the national tournament. So if you win the national tournament, then you are the best Division 2 school in the country. So my last 2 years, we got to the 2nd round of nationals. So that's like 3 rounds off the final, I think. And that's when you play against like the best of the best in the country, which is like sick. But we played like my last 2 years at uni, we had like one of the best. I think we got ranked 8th nationally out of like, I don't know, 300 schools.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So like we had one of the best programs, but
so if you won D2, could you not go up into D1?
No,
it was like a tier of you.
It doesn't work like that. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I know in America I think in the MLS they haven't got any promotion.
No, it's not
relegations. Yeah,
that's why
American
football's like crap.
Yeah,
There's no promotion relegation. Like that's what Lampard would say. He said like
there's more tiers.
Well, no, Lampard was sort of saying, like, I think he was saying, because there's no threat of relegation, like you're essentially you're not playing for anything.
Yeah. So if you're like rock bottom, you have no incentive to do well because
essentially if you come rock bottom, you get first pick in the draft. So you get your first pick at the best player in college football.
Yeah, that's.
You know what I mean? So they try and make it more even, which I understand, but there needs to be that. There needs to be that sense of kind of like. I don't know, like it doesn't seem as serious if there's no promotion relegation. Like I remember Lampard joking, was like in an interview, I think it was with Tubes actually, he was sort of saying he remembers like getting battered playing for New York City FC, and he's like walking off and all the fans like clapping.
Yeah, they don't care.
Like, oh, better luck next year. Like we'll have a better year next year. Could you imagine that happening in England?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't know.
Could you imagine like getting relegated and people like clapping, being like, "Oh, unlucky lads." I've
seen stuff from like Sunderland though, like they give it a right big push at the end and then they just barely miss it, and then they were like, "Oh, well done."
Yeah, of course.
In terms of the way America's tiered, it reminds me of say England in terms of like the big clubs have with the money, because you know for academies you got Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was at Ipswich, I see their setup because I had a couple of trials there. I see their setup. I go there. They got a massive dome, loads of like massive field, like a good astro. And they go, "Oh, it's Cat 2." And I was like, "How are these not Cat 1?" Like they've got nice.
You have to meet certain requirements.
Yeah, and then you see Southend United Cat 3, because I remember under 14, like this is a few years ago, Alfie played for them, and then they go up and play Tottenham, who's Cat 1, and they smashed them.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is there a difference? But obviously, when you get to older teams like 18s, all of that, you see Chelsea, City, United, they buy the best players.
I always said, we always sort of used to joke around about it at college, because we always used to play the Division 1 school that was like in our state, and that was a massive school. Like, not compared to like the other D1 schools, but obviously we were the Division 2 school. We played them every spring season in friendly. We never lost them. We beat them 3 out of 4 years. They were like terrible. They weren't good at all. But like they're the D1 school. So in America, people would look at them and be like, "Oh, they go to a D1 school. Like, it must be unreal." And then they'd look at us and be like, "Oh, D2. Like, yeah, that's not too bad." And we beat them. Convincingly.
And they were only D1 because they had money.
Well, no, as in like the only reason they're a D1 school is because of their setup, basically.
Yeah, but they weren't actually.
But we always used to say, like, obviously you know how the FA Cup works here. Like,
the FA Cup is brilliant.
It's literally spans from the Premier League to like Essex Senior League, I think. They play in the Cup.
Southend played in the Essex Senior League. And
I think they should do that in America across college, like D1, like let's call it like the College Cup. D1 schools, D2 schools, D3 schools. Do it throughout. Maybe like I reckon do that in the spring season, because normally it's like August to December is the solid season, like the proper one, and then February to April or whatever is just like friendlies, and spring season they call it. So it's just like pre-season almost.
Yeah.
But I reckon they should do that. So like, I'm sure there'll be a lot more D2 schools beating D1 schools, and like other way around, like D3 might beat D2. Like it just open it up so much more. I think it'd be sick. Can you imagine like being a tiny small D3 school and playing like UCLA away.
Yeah, going to like Camp Nou
in the college.
So I find the best footballers I know, like no offence, they're not the brightest of sparks. They're quite stupid.
Well, I'm pretty intelligent.
They wouldn't, in terms of say they did want to go to America, academically there's no chance they'd be able to get into a big uni there. So they'd have to go to a D2, D3.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. So there's also community colleges, which is like kind of like a stepping stone. So like, if you are really stupid, you can go to a community college for 2 years, get your credits and your qualifications, and then for your final 2 years, you can transfer to a big school. Which is what a lot of people do that, which is like quite a good way to do it, because
gives them
some community colleges literally have like some of the best teams in the country. Like a couple of boys that played with my uni come from community colleges, and they're like some of the best players I played with, but they just couldn't get in because of their brain.
Yeah, so Garratt actually good, or was he a fraud?
No, Garratt was sick, to be fair.
But yeah, winger.
No, he was like a striker. I don't know. I think his best position was up front. He was sort of like a second striker.
Yeah.
He was good though. Like his freshman year, so him and Cal had to redshirt their first year, because basically when I left sixth form, I took a gap year. And taking 1 year off academics is fine. And then, so I still maintained my 4 years of eligibility, whereas Cal and Tom, they took 2 years off. So because they were 2 years off of not doing any education and they were playing, they lost 1 year of eligibility.
Yeah.
So they could only play for 3 years. So their first year of college, they had to sit out basically. Like they trained with us every day, but they weren't like registered. They couldn't play in any games or anything like that. So Garratt, like in training, was like unreal. Like that first year. So we were like obviously thinking about the next year. Like, we're gonna have Garratt. Like he's gonna be able to play for us and stuff like that. His second year, he didn't really have a good season, to be honest. He'd say that himself. Like he was just a bit bob, to be honest. But because obviously like off the back of him just training that first year, we were like, fucking hell, like Garratt's gonna go off this year. Like he's gonna be unreal. Like and then obviously second year, his first year of playing, he didn't really have that good a season. But his third year, he was unreal. I think he scored like 13 or 14 goals and got like 10 assists or something. He was good.
Did either of you get offered pro contracts, not from say England, but like international teams? Because Joe and I know someone from college who got offered pro in Sweden.
Oh yeah.
I can't lie, he's a bit of a fraud, but he got offered a pro in Sweden. So I was thinking.
Quite a few lads. What from my unit?
Yeah.
I got offered a pro contract from Sweden last. What are we now? 2022.
Yeah,
so 2022. Yeah, so last January 2021. But this is going to sound like one of them. I could have gone pro because of my name. But no, I got offered a contract by this team in Sweden, and it couldn't happen because of obviously Brexit. You now need work permits to go in.
Yeah.
And obviously the money they were offering me to play Division 4 in Sweden, obviously. That wouldn't qualify.
That's
for
what
me.
they said to me.
Wouldn't qualify for me getting a work permit in Sweden, so it just didn't happen. But it happened to another lad as well.
How much would that be? Just like a standard salary in the UK?
Yeah, no, like so. In order to get a work permit in Europe, I think it's basically like a full-time job. So like you need to probably be earning like 30 grand a year, 25 grand a year.
And that's how much they pay you out in Sweden in different.
Well, the geezer
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying basically the money that I would have been on, it wouldn't have been enough. It wouldn't have been enough for them to apply for a work permit for me, basically. But no, one of my a lad called Joe Bell, he come on the podcast. He's like a really tall, like lanky centre half guy. He was my partner. He come on the podcast. He played in Sweden at that team that offered me a contract, but he was there for a year. Couple of other lads have been playing in Sweden from my university because our coach has got quite a good connection with this agent. But it sounds a good level out there, like Joe was saying, like it's a good standard and stuff. But again, like that low down, if you do it the equivalent in England, you can probably earn more money
in the league,
and it's just a better atmosphere. It's better.
So, boys, if you want to become fraudulent pro footballers and put pro baller in your bio, go to Sweden.
100%. 100%. I already had it saved in my bio.
Yeah, I had it ready to put pro baller, just sign and then hand the club.
Yeah, honestly, the amount of birds I told, I'm a pro footballer, but then I could say that, I couldn't go out there because I said like they couldn't afford me, literally.
They couldn't afford me. That's too good. Weren't you a fullback or centre back?
No, get your facts right.
I don't know. Ben tells me.
You're born again. That's like getting Ronaldo and being like, oh, you were left wing, right?
I haven't been able to come watch the Mighty Cam.
My whole life I've basically played centre half, but I played fullback loads as well.
That's what Ben said. You said you're best as a fullback.
I thought you were a left back.
A left back in the changing room. You're taking a piss now.
Yeah, let's have it off now.
I wasn't taking the piss. Well, I think you were.
Charity box.
Gaffer's going to drop it.
No, I've been a centre half my whole life basically. I played centre mid when I was like a lot younger. I still fancy myself as a bit of centre mid now, but my uni teammates won't allow me to say that.
I fancy myself as a centre mid, but the legs have gone at the ripe age of 17. So yeah, that's.
No, I reckon you'd be a bit like. I reckon you should be a bit like James Rodriguez, just like a lazy 10.
Yeah, lazy 10. Luxury 10. Yeah, just walk around, shove it top bins, but I'm not running anywhere.
Just two touches, control, shoot, and just point around, tell people what to do.
Yeah, luxury 10. That's the goal.
What's the actual style of football like in America?
Really fast-paced,
to be honest, mate. To be honest, I think it's either, I don't know really, it's pretty similar to how it is here. I think playing football out the back and on the deck is a lot more common now in England, but there's still a lot of people that play like long,
I hate that.
Pump it, fight. I like to call it fight ball, basically.
Yeah.
So you're gaining territory. You're not necessarily just like booting it aimlessly, but like you're just going long to get into their territory, and then you work off that sort of thing. There is a lot of that in America. Don't get me wrong. Like a lot of like a lot of physical football, like playing long and just being like fit and running around loads and working hard. But obviously, because of like the South American influence, there's a lot of teams that play football, which is good as well. So
it's a good mixture of the two.
Yeah, my university, I'd say we're probably a mixture of the two. So
is it not more athletic? Would you say?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Like American football, as well. That's very athletic.
Naturally, obviously, all of the like strength and conditioning coaches out there fucking love like being strong and fit and working hard and like running, and it's all like military regimes like pre-season and stuff like that. Some of the stuff we were doing pre-season, but in fairness, we were one of the fittest teams, so like it's what you want really. Like you can either, but I've always thought like you don't need to do all of that. You can get fit by just playing football. So.
Because there's nothing like match fitness. Like, I remember in lockdown, I was doing 5k runs every day. I turned back up to training, and I couldn't run.
Blowing. Always like you do like a 6-week pre-season, and then the first 10 minutes of the first pre-season, you're like, even as a centre half, I'm blowing out my arse.
If you can't outplay them, we can outrun them half the time. So.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a big philosophy. When I was at Concord, he was huge on work rate and fitness because there were some games where, because we're a massive footballing team, like the football was literally keep on the deck side to side.
Yeah, you have to be fit to even play that sort of football, don't you?
But then there was games where it just wasn't clicking, we weren't getting in the right shape, and then it was just running, working hard. So you had to have both sides. Like you had to be good at football, but if that wasn't going, it's like the whole hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. So if that wasn't going well for you, you had to outrun the other team.
Nice cliche that.
Throwing it in there.
What's that, Ronaldo? Is that
I learned that from Gandhi.
So, are you now a coach in America?
Yeah, coach.
Is it like
kids? I mean, I wouldn't actually call myself a coach. I coach though.
Oh,
just watch. I get paid to watch.
You're just a parent in the stands who thinks that they are.
I basically wear a coach's outfit, like kit, and then I just play football with the.
Are you orchestrating on the side? Are you like bending, telling everyone where to
go?
To
be fair, the coaching that I do. The company I work for, we basically do like coach mentoring and just like helping out in sessions and stuff. So essentially, what we do is it would be like the equivalent of me going up to Belfairs Park on a Saturday morning, and there's like loads of different sessions going on, and me basically like jumping into every session, being like, "Oh, I'm going to do 10 minutes with this team," blah blah blah, just like. Giving because a lot of it in America is like volunteer coaches, so it's like one of the players' dads or mums that's taking the team, so they don't really know much about soccer or football, so we just go in and we help them out and just do some sessions. But I was also an assistant coach at a high school out there with two of my mates that I lived with. That was sick actually, because like
that would be quite fun.
We were like training every day, and like obviously implementing like tactics, like formation, and everything. And we were coaching the boys like individually and like in units and teams and stuff, like everything. So that was sick actually. But so like that's what I do out there, coach wise.
Is there a perception of English coaches out there? Do you think that? Like,
they think we're like gods.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the amount of times I've dropped into like a session with like volunteers. And they're like,
oh my god, Elliott Johnson.
Like literally, it'll be like someone's dad, and he's got like full on like Tony Pulis like cap. He's got all the gear on. He's got a nice clipboard, and he's like, hey, so I'm gonna go through playing through the middle third with 1 touch, 2 touch, and I'm like, one, they're 7 years old, and they can't kick a ball. And half of them are just like picking grass off the floor. Like, you want to go through like playing through the middle third. Yeah. I was like, literally, just get them playing like Simon Says dribbling or like all these random little shitty games, right? And then they're like, oh my god, I'm gonna steal that off you. That's amazing. Like,
that's oh
my god. And then I'm sort of, and then like we're kind of like, yeah, thinking like they're so bad. Like, but like it's only like me being like. Coaching a basketball team, like, I wouldn't have a clue. Like I know some drills from when I played basketball at school, but obviously to them they want to literally coach football out of a handbook, but it's not like that.
Yeah, football's not a handbook. It should be more of a natural game. That's where you get players,
especially at that age. So when we like drop into the sessions like on the pitch and stuff, and they know like they're getting like mentoring from us English coaches, they fucking live off it.
Yeah, because if you look in the Prem, you see players that get overcoached.
Yeah.
So, for example, I used to think, I rate him so highly now, but Declan Rice, I used to think he's literally used passes backwards and sideways, but he's been given a bit more freedom. Like, he's not, I reckon, like Moyes has said, like, do your own thing a bit more. And you watch him, he's running forward with the ball. If you overcoach, you kill a player's
Yeah.
and then they might not feel as confident because they can't do what they're good at.
Yeah.
They can't.
At the younger age, you just want to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to get into it more. And
like the American coaches are so like serious though. It does make me laugh.
So would they all be quite new to football because they've grown up with it? They're sort of like 40 years old and learning football.
What, like the coaches?
Yeah, the coaches.
Yeah. So like, imagine if I don't know, like I'm 25. Like imagine if I had a son, right, and he wanted to play. I don't know. He wanted to play water polo, right? But no one on his water polo team. They didn't have a coach for his water polo team. So one of the dads was just like, "Yeah, I'll be a water polo coach." So literally, you're researching like the rules about water polo, training sessions for water polo, stuff like that. So that's literally kind of what it is for them.
Yeah.
It'll be like a dad that has played baseball all his life, and because soccer's growing out there with kids, a lot more kids are playing soccer. So naturally, their parents are getting involved and learning about soccer. So yeah, literally, I've had to go through like offsides with like dads and stuff like that. Like yeah, literally.
Well,
like,
so the actual coach.
We have to coach. I've coached teams on like throw-in stuff, like how to take a throw-in, stuff like that. So like, it's quite funny because obviously here you don't really have to do that when you're coaching kids. So you have to think about it a lot more. So even though I've played football my whole life and I've considered myself a fairly decent footballer, it's so different trying to exchange that into like a coaching perspective. You know what I mean? Because I'll be watching a kid like literally not be able to pass the ball 5 yards. I'm thinking like, why the fuck can't you do this? Like, it's not even that hard.
It does.
But then you have to kind of strip it back. Like I'm thinking like, well, they're new to football, so how would I literally explain a step-by-step process of how to kick a football to someone that's never kicked a football?
It should be a natural thing. Like, I speak to my dad sometimes. I'm like, because he coached me when I was little. Because like you're 6.
I thought you said your dad could kick a ball then.
No, you don't really. Well, because I lived in Australia. So we, again, football is quite big out there. It's getting bigger, but the main sport's AFL, Aussie rules. So everyone's like Aussie rules. So my dad was my coach, and then I asked him. I was like, what was it like showing people what to do? And he was like, I could kick a ball because my uncles, like my dad, they were like decent at football. But then there was other kids who literally could not, and he said it did my head in. So you have to have a lot of patience for it, I'd say. And I think in America it's growing massively because of players like Pulisic, Ray, and then the little kids look up and they go, because they call Pulisic the LeBron James of football, don't they?
So would you see like loads of Chelsea fans and loads of like Dortmund fans out there because of their idols?
Yeah. Like, all the kids support like Chelsea or obviously like Man City now because they're like
the best team.
They tend to follow players instead of teams.
Yeah.
It's like Koreans, they all love sun.
Yeah, like we've said it. We've said it on the podcast. Like Garratt always says it. The American guys at our uni, obviously going over there, they'd be like, they'd be from New York and they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm a Barca fan and stuff like that. I'm like, fuck off, are you?
You're probably done in that.
But don't get me wrong, they'll be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday to watch football. No, to watch football on telly. Like they're pretty loyal with their support because what you got to think like you've got to be serious about. If you're serious about football, you've got to be waking up like mate. The amount of times I missed Spurs games because I was like, there's no way I'm waking up at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning to watch Spurs.
Yeah, they're so inconsistent.
Yeah, but I'd consider myself a proper Spurs fan and have been for years. And I'm from England and it's like the home of football, etc. But I was like, I'm watching that. But all the Americans are like setting alarms, 7 o'clock up sharp, watching on CBS Sports. They love it, but there is a lot of that, mate. There was this one lad at my uni. Oh my days, within the space of about a year and a half, he supported United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, and he also supports Madrid as well. But basically, on the basis of who was doing well, he would change his like Facebook pictures to like that team. But we always used to save them, and like we'd go in and be like, "Oh, Doc, you were a Chelsea fan last week," and he'd be like, "No, I wasn't." I'm a United fan, man. I'm like, "Fuck, I'm a United fan." So like, there's also a lot of that as well. Like, they don't actually like support the teams.
Is that because it's kind of an American culture that a lot of the American football teams are, like move across the US?
Yeah.
So I think so like 1 week they're like the Miami Dolphins, and next week they're
but also as well like I feel like sports in America is like all under one umbrella. Like, I'd say in England, football is obviously the main thing in it. Like, so I'm a Spurs fan.
Nothing close to.
I'm a Spurs fan, and there's no other club in any other sport. In any other sport that I support. Like, I'm not like I'm not a Spurs fan, a London Wasps fan, an Essex cricket fan, and like whatever the Essex basketball team fan. You know what I mean? Whereas in America, they're like that. So like, you'll meet a bloke and he'll be like, oh yeah, I'm a Cubs fan. I'm a LA Rams fan. Like, they support so many different teams. So like, they'll probably support like Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Inter Milan. They like pick clubs from different countries, but because they haven't got, it's just like the way it works, isn't it? Like the MLS is pony. Like kids don't even support MLS teams. Like all the Americans at my uni were like, you don't even watch MLS. Like,
is there nothing about support your local? Is there not?
Nothing
of that.
Obviously, like there are a lot of fans for MLS clubs. Like I think like that new team, Charlotte FC, had like 60,000 people at their game. Like, but obviously they're a brand new club, so people from Charlotte can now be like, oh, I'm going to start supporting Charlotte FC now.
Yeah.
So like it is different like that because there's new teams being made like every year. Could you imagine if that happened here? Can you imagine there was like a new franchise in the Premier League?
Yeah, like a new.
There was
a newly formed team.
Like Cornwall FC, like just joined.
Yeah, Cornwall FC joined.
So like, now everyone in Cornwall can get to support Cornwall FC. Like it's weird when you think about it from our perspective because we've just grown up with it. But
I think the closest thing we have to that is what's Gary Neville's team?
Oh, Salford.
That's the closest thing you probably have to that. Well, they have to start low down.
Everyone hated Salford when they started. Like, everyone was like...
Because obviously so much money's thrown into it, it seems like an inorganic
It's like
process
Wrexham as well. The National League, Wrexham are so hated because they got Ryan Reynolds enough.
I suppose it's like, what's it, like hashtag, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag, yeah.
Like, they've now entered into the league. Like, mate, if they start smashing it, imagine they get promoted to the conference.
Like, they are smashing
they could, like, they're on the ladder now, so there could be some point in the near future they become a full-time professional team.
I reckon they will, due to the investors that they would attract. Like, they will attract huge investors because of their social media presence and the way it's going forward with social media. There's no reason why a big investor wouldn't want to get into hashtag, and they've got so many little kids as fans, and you know what parents are like, they'll just buy them. It's like, Mum, I want a hashtag top, buy it.
It's like Leipzig are only like what?
Yeah, Leipzig.
12 years old.
2008.
Same with PSG. PSG's not that old.
It's not, but it got taken over. It got a massive revamp, didn't it? So realistically, it's only been proper PSG for like.
Same with Man City. They were always shocking until 2008. Was it?
Back in the day, they were unreal.
Yeah, but like that's like I wasn't even alive.
No, yeah, but like that's what obviously everyone always chucks that argument about, don't they? But City of like
oil club.
I think City are like the fourth or might be like fifth or sixth in terms of like club trophies.
Yeah, but if you look at it, they're all from the past.
Yeah, they were like 70s and 80s and stuff like that, and obviously like these past few years.
But I think they actually spend their money well, so I think that's a credit to them.
If
you compare it to like United throw their money about on really weird players, but City do. Yeah, City do spend it well. They've got a good.
Who do you reckon win the league this year?
Liverpool. Unless Tottenham get points. If Tottenham get points off Liverpool, I reckon it'll go.
If they lose every single one of their remaining games, and we win every single one of the remaining games, and then there's like a bonus for the last win of the season. It's like
and there's a playoff as well.
Yeah,
and then Jermaine Defoe re-signs.
Yeah.
I reckon there's a chance.
That playoff system that you told, I was going to mention it earlier because I'm a Perth Glory fan.
Oh yeah,
I love Perth Glory because I was born there. So they're in Australia. They won the league by a good 17 points, getting the playoff, and they lost. And I was like, what a waste of time.
That's what I mean. But I tell you what, I was having this discussion with my mate the other day. I mean, sure, if you listen to the Masala podcast, you'll know my opinion on Norwich.
No, what is your opinion on Norwich?
They're just a waste of time.
Oh yeah, they are a waste of time.
They just bounce
I hate them.
up and down.
Yeah, they
I
are.
absolutely hate them. So what I think should happen
Same with
is
Fulham.
what I think should happen is because it's gone on for too long now. This can't keep happening. Then get promoted, then just get sent right back down. To then get promoted again to get sent right back down. It's a waste of time.
Yeah,
what they should do is they should do they should either do this. If you get relegated, okay, and it's your first season being back in, you're not allowed to come back to the league for like another 2 years. Right, so if Norwich get relegated this year, even if they win the league the Championship next year, they've got a year ban. No, like you've had your chance.
You've ruined
You're
it.
not allowed to come back up
It's
this
like
time.
Fulham. Have you seen Mitrovic? He's got 35 goals.
Yeah, and he'll score like 2.
He'll get 2 next year.
Yeah.
What's the point? It's like Dom Solanke as well.
Because then it gives another team a chance. Like say that the team that get you have that second place that get automatic promotion. Let's say whoever it is, and then you can have like the 2 finalists of the playoff. Someone that wins the playoff final and the runners up go up as well. Or you do it like the Bundesliga where you have 20th and 19th get automatically relegated, and then 18th play a playoff game against 3rd place in the Championship to see who goes up.
Oh, I see. That's quite a good system.
So that's basically like a battle of one of the worst teams in the Prem and one of the best teams in the Championship. They play a playoff game to see who gets.
Well, if you look at Notts Forest and Middlesbrough, they both.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I know Norwich are in the Prem and they're
not
shit,
Prem standard.
but I'd like to see them play against Fulham or Bournemouth or something like that.
I reckon Fulham would obviously on current form. We think of Norwich's form, think of Fulham's form on paper.
Yeah, exactly. Then that just sort of proves out of the 2 who deserves to be in the Prem.
Yeah.
The thing I think the Championship. I don't know if you remember last season. Barnsley were in the playoffs, and they were so close.
Mate, Luton are 3rd.
Yeah, I know.
Right now.
Look at Barnsley.
Imagine if Luton got in the Prem.
Barnsley are now in the relegation zone. Their chance is gone. So they could have got in the Prem. Norwich got in. Like, even if Barnsley got relegated straight away, it would have been nice to see Barnsley in there because they haven't been in there since the 90s.
But under my new ruling, they'd have been banned for the next year.
Yeah, but then they could have got relegated from the Championship, then gone down to League One and done the Southend and got relegated again. But we need you to sign for Southend and get them back in.
Yeah, I know.
Do you reckon you're good enough for Southend?
They need to sign me in the 10. No.
No.
I mean, I played obviously last few games.
Welling would probably beat them.
No, Welling like second from bottom.
Why did you join them then?
Because I wanted to play Conference South. Like, I played that level now. I reckon that's probably like
Your max.
maybe, yeah. Obviously, it depends. The more you play it, the more you improve.
What about Canvey? You're on a
If
title.
I actually decide to go and get in the gym once, I might bulk up and be like Van Dijk. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Is
But
it
to be
not
honest, I
enjoyable?
like a beer too much, so.
Is it not enjoyable playing as a centre back for a team that keeps getting hammered? Like, is it a bit like,
No,
I
I
enjoy
mean-
this?
I mean, I like being a centre half because I enjoy defending. So in some ways, I get to do a lot of defending.
But yeah, that's
so
true. I mean, if you're a keeper, you get lots of shots.
I found it boring playing for teams where you win like 6-0 every game. Because as a centre half, you just don't get involved. Yeah.
Do you think you'll
That's
win
why I
the
don't
league
like
with
standing at the
Canvey?
back for the tankers.
Do you think you win the league with Canvey, or do you reckon? Because I know you lost to Coulshaw, and I know. Well, who did hashtag play? Was it Derham or is it Stowmarket? Stowmarket are the ones.
I reckon Canvey. Yeah, so like it's Aveley are on 66, Canvey are on 64, and I think Stowmarket on 62.
Yeah. Hashtag drew with them.
They got a game in hand on Canvey. I reckon Canvey will come. I don't know, mate. Canvey are like a very, very good side for that league, so it'll be a tough one. It'll go right down to the wire.
Yeah.
Between Aveley, Stowmarket.
Joe and I we featured on the Canvey Ultras page
Really?
once, yeah, because we went pre-season, and
What? And you're a Concord fan? Are you proud of that?
I did feel quite bad, but
It's like being
yeah,
Spurs
you know
and
the sense
Arsenal
back.
fan,
I don't know. I might butcher his name. Is it like Evans?
Evans.
No, that's Evans.
Oh,
Centre
Evangelos.
back. Yeah, Evangelos. Yeah. I spoke to him on Instagram after. I was like, he played unreal in the game. Who did they play? Walthamstow.
For a friendly.
Yeah,
It was in the cups.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he played, and we basically, because we went with a few of our mates who live on Canvey, and they were like, "Oh, it's usually dead down there." Got all the chants going, and look at the season you're having. They've been chanting every game. The atmosphere's been unreal.
Mate, yeah, Canvey's unreal.
Yeah.
No,
I think Evans
that's-
Kouassi is a player.
Yeah,
he's quite old as well.
I
isn't
think he's
he?
like 31,
Yeah.
maybe 30.
Because I remember I saw him, I was like, "Oh, he's a good young prospect." My mate goes, he's in his 30s. I was
Yeah,
like,
Evans is legs.
his output's
He
unreal as
nutmegged
well.
me pre-season once when I played for Concord. So when I signed for Canvey, he was like, "You the guy nutmeg?" And I was like, "Nah, mate. No, definitely not me.
Then
Definitely
you
not
got
me."
Billy Knott.
Oh yeah.
AK Penno, he smashed a pen. He was doing pens at half time and he smashed one into the stand at me and John. Yeah, that was quite funny. But yeah, I do follow Canvey's.
Mate, that's what I mean about non-league though. Like,
It's brilliant.
I played in front of like 700 people when we played away to Aveley. It was like first versus second. Like, what other country you get in 700 people to like a 7th tier game
Yeah.
on a Saturday afternoon? You could literally be doing anything else.
Yeah.
And it's like
Literally
hashtag
doing
United.
anything
Look
else.
at the league they're in. I was in the hashtag academy process this year. it was rigged. But anyway, I was in that, and then I
You're
turned
like Marcus Bent. How many clubs you got on your career list?
I could actually go through them all right now. I've got Woodvale, came here at Ashenden, Leewood, Lee Ramblers, Rochford. Then I went to Southend Manor.
Trials at Ipswich,
Concord. I was at Southend United development squad. Trial at Ipswich.
When you were like,
And now I'm back at South. Oh, Basildon Town.
More clubs than Tiger Woods, you.
Yeah. And what was I even saying about in the first place?
You were saying about
Hashtag Academy
hashtag
Series. Yeah, hashtag
Academy,
as well.
yeah.
And then I turned up and there we were doing. It was for some reason it was 6-a-side games. This was before Tommy Tankers. If it was now, I'd be in my element. But
like the meta.
there was so many people there, and I was just thinking, for a non-league side who aren't in that good of a division, and probably because they had an awful start to the season. I don't know if you remember, they've picked it up now because they brought in new players, but they had an awful start. And I was thinking, there's so many kids here who probably won't even get a look in the first team because there were a few stinkers there who probably just go to get on the video and because you have to do an application.
What to
go on the trial? No, to go on the trial.
Or like a Love Island in
Yeah. So I had to do an application. I had to say who I played for, and obviously I'm like, oh yeah, Concord.
It took about 45 minutes to say all the clubs you played for.
No, I just put Concord. That was
a massive list of names.
So I've been here.
I played for Southend, Concord Rangers. I trialled at Ipswich.
But yeah, and then after the first, the winner was Jake Lindsay. Do you know Jake Lindsay?
No.
Well, anyway, yeah, the winner was him. But you see them all interviewing him in the corner, and then the other person in the final, who's Yoni, who's actually had a really good season for them. Me and Alfie were there. We didn't get a look in, not one. We've only got any minutes of camera time, so it's like you sort of knew.
I think they said your name once.
Yeah, they said my name once. They said Archie Shepherd's lost the ball, and I was like, yeah, no, brilliant.
Cheers for that.
But yeah, you sort of get the gist of who's going to win after the first two. Because I got through the first two, and then I got told I wasn't selected on the third. I got on the third one, and I wasn't selected for the fourth. But you sort of get a gist of whether.
Didn't we play them anyway? Did you?
No. I'm a Canby Ultra.
No.
Didn't fancy it. Didn't want the screen time anyway. Time. And then Ben got me injured.
Yep.
What do you think of in terms of the Tankers for managing? I know you want to be a bit more hands-on because I know before the SMPU game, and I know you take yourself credit for it, but the players don't give you any credit because you sit there doing all your little. You remember these little whiteboards?
He's like Randy. He's like Puppet Master.
Yeah, his whiteboard, and he's telling us.
No, I don't have a whiteboard. Let's get there.
Oh no! He just had his little counters of the head, like the cut off.
Yeah,
he printed off pictures of the players.
No, but that's why I think his management style works.
He's
got out and played.
And it's quite funny because instead of doing a picture of Clarkey, it was like Theo Baker.
Yeah, I couldn't find a picture of Clarkey. So like Theo Baker, Wayne Rooney.
Do you play Football Manager?
Oh no,
you should.
No.
You should. But yeah, he's like, if he goes here, I want you to follow him, and then someone step across. I'm like, Ben, it's 6-a-side. We all go out there, it's out the pan, it's just all guns blazing.
No, to be fair though, there was, to my credit, Kofi Edge, he did actually listen to what I said. He was going to a threat back off the ball, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. He was on the left side as well, and he kept passing.
And then he did cut the passing lane, and he got.
He cut the passing lane, and he drove through into the final.
What was it? What was it you said to me the other game? It was like the keeper doesn't like it down to his like bottom left or something.
Yeah. That went out the window. Do you know?
I think I scored a couple in that corner.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Too.
It was because, right, and I've worked this out.
So all that analysis worked.
It's because, right, he actually like pre-dives as such. So he dives before you've even kicked the ball. Yeah. So like, whereas he was thinking that you were going to open out and go to that far corner, whereas he like chucked it. Yeah, whereas you chucked it in the bottom left.
Yeah.
So that's why like before you even kicked the ball, he was going down on his left knee. And it's going in the bottom. Well, to be fair, it's a good shot. It's hard as.
And do you know what was all wrong about that? The game after, Ben's sent me all these clips, all this analysis. He's like, yeah, go bottom left every time. Every shot I had at the bottom left, he saved. And I've turned around to Ben. I've gone.
Was that the SMPU game?
Yeah, the one we lost.
Do you remember I had 800 shots?
Yeah, we had about 800 shots, and I was like, Ben, your analysis is a load of rubbish, mate. He will save anything I throw at him. Like, I was pounding shots.
The Reims actually worked this out. So they had a friendly against SMPU, I think 2 weeks back, right? And for some reason, they had a really poor squad, and SMPU had a decent squad, but obviously both teams weren't trying as much as it's a friendly, but the Reims scored every single goal from about 6 feet out. Literally tap-ins. They just scored loads of tap-ins. That's what we need to do tonight. Tap-in central.
Yeah.
And even when Ozero's played them, all their goals were from long balls over to Luke Jackson. He just turns and shoots.
He's got a good shot power, so he's not going to save it from point blank. And I remember watching the highlights back, because obviously you can pick a pass. 2 of my goals were from when I run up and then you just play it through to me. I'm like 2 yards out and I just slot it in. It's like you can't shoot at him from range because he will get to it. You need to get a bit closer to it.
People like Ollie like to cut in like you do in 11s. And in 11s you can just cut in and put it top right and there's nothing the kicker can do about it. It's so high and wide. Yeah, whereas in 6s, especially against JT, who's ex-Arsenal, like if you stick it top right, hard as anything, he'll just step across and catch it.
Yeah.
There's no you can't cut in 6s. You've got to either like drill it across or.
So I remember you had a shot and it was you absolutely pinged at him and then I've turned around to you and gone, how's that not gone? And then you just looked shocked and like it was like it wasn't a sense of panic. We were thinking like, what are we gonna do? Because obviously,
he was trying to make a move that keeper
against SMPU.
I've never seen someone
against SMPU. We keep the goals. Let's be honest. Every time we play them, we concede 6, 7, or 8 goals. Yeah. So we know how many we're going to concede, but it's how many we will score. And then we were on, I think, 4 goals, and we scored 2 in like the last minute. And then we were on 5 goals, scored 2 in the last minute, and then we had 1 which we should have had a pen because I got kicked in the head.
Oh yeah, he had it cut by his eyebrow.
Well, I think we were at 4 or 5 goals at the time, and we were throwing everything at him.
Throwing the kitchen,
we're throwing the kitchen sink, everything. And he was just saving it all. And then I literally went over to say to my dad, I was like, I don't know what to do. Because obviously, I don't know if you have it like, if you're having a bit of a shock, you go over to your dad and you're like, oh, Dad, what do you do? Like, did you have it when you were younger?
I sometimes my dad just abusing me.
Oh, yeah. I go over to him and he's like, I'll try this out. And I was like, Dad, what do I do? And he was like, I don't know. I was like, he's too good. I was like, oh, that's not ideal. But yeah, we've got it.
Yeah, in fairness, it just happens, isn't it? He had an absolute worldie.
Yeah, and we didn't have a great
won't happen again, though.
No, it's
not
happening.
No, he does it.
You're in the mud.
Well, he does it mostly every week, but that game especially, he was an octopus. Like you could not score against him. Anything like even tapping, only couple.
Those sort of games when the keepers are pulling off worldies, you think you have to have. You think you get caught up in thinking I've got to hit a worldie shot here to score. When realistically, all we're doing is just smashing the ball straight at him, but like he's saving it all the time. We just needed to sort of just like place him in that game. Like, we were kind of rushing it because we needed to score. We were like, right, just get shots on goal. Right, it will score.
Because we were leaving it a bit late, so we were thinking, we just need to get shots off. And I remember like he makes this amazing triple save. It wasn't amazing. They were all straight at him. Like obviously he gets off the ground.
He got well.
They're all straight at him, and it's like
it didn't help Owen missing a sitter.
Owen does.
Is that Owen?
Owen. It was Owen. Yeah, the one that you put it on a plate for. That was
Jesus.
Yeah, it's poor from him.
And then Ollie. Yeah, he didn't really miss any.
Old Ollie, 12-touch Terry.
Yeah, but we have Alfie and Ollie who, don't get me wrong, with their shots. We need more people to shoot with power. They both have the shot power, but they shoot from stupid places.
No, but to be fair, Ollie scored some bangers, didn't he?
Yeah,
in his time, he scored some bangers.
He'll have about 70 shots.
But that one
and 800 coif turns and 7 step overs, and he'll score like 5 screamers. So I'll let him off.
Yeah. There was something in the game that you played. I think it was either second to last.
Deporto, the friendly, when he stuck it.
The friendly.
There's one more that he just turned and just pushed it forward.
Yeah.
Leveled it top.
And he's just top right, and he's like dead straight as well.
Have you seen the state of our league now?
No.
4 teams have left, and there's only 4 of us left. It's us, our other team, SMPU, and Ozeros.
Yeah.
What that's?
The reason for that is there was
the same league we won.
Yeah. Well, there was such a quality gap between the 4.
The gap is
it was like 4 brilliant teams who like battle it out every week, and there's like 4 like dribbles, like teams sort of just like.
That's the top division, right?
It's the only 60th division in the whole. Like the whole thing, so like our divisions.
Yeah, there's only one division.
So you'd have like Monday 7's Prem Championship.
Yeah, but what about Oh no,
there isn't 6s on any other day.
The first game I played for you guys, that was 5.
Yeah, that was 5. So we were in the bottom division when we were in the bottom 5th.
Smashing teams.
Yeah. There's quite a few divisions for 5s there.
Yeah, 5 there's like Prem Championship, League 1, League 2 for most days.
Leagues.
But there's only 6s on a Monday, and there's only 1 division.
What about like the games that are played out on the big pitch?
That's what. In fact, our
surely
pitch
you start 7s though.
Monday 7s is quite a hard division.
No, it's not. I played in it the other day.
Yeah, but like, how else is Tankers going to progress?
Well, next season we've got.
What, are you going 11 aside? Doing a hashtag?
Oh no, we
joining S16.
No, we were planning it, but the thing is, our players are obviously all in setups. And they're looking to go progress on to non-league men's teams, they're not gonna no one's gonna leave Concord Rangers to come and join Tommy Tanker's 11s on
It's
a
expensive
Saturday or
as
something.
well.
Yeah, but
So
like, there's a Sunday 11s league though, isn't there?
Yeah,
I used to play in that in the summer.
Yeah.
But obviously, then you've got people that are like, I can't be asked to play on a Saturday or a Sunday.
It would have to be worth it. We'd have to have a bit of clout behind us.
I reckon you go sevens, mate.
That's it.
Yeah,
we have
sevens. I played sevens with me and my.
SMPU.
I played sevens with me and my mates, and like some of my mates were pretty pony, but like it was good. Like it's intense. Like it's challenging. So
I feel like though a few. Not going to name names, but I feel like some people may get.
Name them, go on.
No, I'm not naming because I played sevens the other day for Eastwood, and then we were playing the team top of the league. We beat them 8-1, which is a bit weird, but there's no walls. So obviously in sixes, if you muck something up, you can just shell it at a wall and it'll go somewhere, or you can just smash it down the pitch because the net will get it. In sevens, like someone comes to press you. You can't smash it at the wall and keep running. You've got to like figure it out.
That's where the technicians.
Yeah, that's where the footballers come out. But
let the players play. Yeah,
that's
a style of football.
Yeah, that's a Benji style of football. You can tell people.
Plus Ben can actually get out of the grass.
In sixes, say you're at the back in sixes, you're having a bit of a stinker. You can just shell balls all day long. Like it doesn't matter where it goes. You can just kick it and it will stay.
Yeah, see, part of me doesn't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that because I like keeping the ball.
I can't. I haven't got the energy to be like smashing argy-bargy on the walls.
Sometimes you got.
I just let him have it. Owen absolutely lives off.
Yeah, we do love a little wall battle, especially Josh. Josh loves a wall battle.
Owen plays like the walls aren't there.
Yeah.
He runs his walls. He did
That's one thing I was creasing about when I played in that SMPU game. I think there was like a couple of times the ball went to the wall. And I was like, I can't even be arsed, so I just let the other geezer have it. But then I was watching Owen just steam through. Like I think Owen got caught in the net about 6 times.
I think that's the difference with us, though. Like, 'cause obviously, it means that much to us. We will throw ourselves into a wall to get a ball just to play up.
But that's why I like. That's why I like sevens. My chicken. That's why I like sevens out on the big pitch though, because it's like it's like marked out pitches. Like, if you've got a shit touch, you're not going to get away with it.
They're actually smaller pitches than the 60 one. Because that 60 pitch is essentially an 8-a-side pitch.
So if you were to enter the sevens, what league would you go into? Do you have to start at the bottom?
No, it'd be Monday Sevens Prem.
Yeah, we get shoved straight in the Prem because we have got the reputation now at goals that. Because I know when teams have a friendly against us, I turned up the other day. Me and Josh turned up early, and they go, "Oh, you two from the Tommy Tankers, aren't you?" Oh yeah. So we've sort of got that reputation that when we walk in. Like whatever team we have put out, like even our second team, everyone knows we've got quite a good standard. So they probably put us straight in the sevens Prem because what's that much different from sixes? Obviously it is different, but why would we be so much worse?
Would you be playing in sevens Prem? Would you be playing against like blokes?
Yeah, we play against blokes anyway.
Well, we don't. The team called EPC. They have Jack Thompson playing for them.
Yeah.
What is he? Is he first team? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the tall lad.
He's online. No, he's only just joined them. He's only been there 5 minutes.
Yeah, man. I reckon do that.
Their team EPC is full of like 50-year-olds. They're all like retired semi-pros, retired pros.
Yeah.
So I feel like as much as they'd be technically brilliant.
Well, yeah.
You
can outrun them. Imagine if you beat them.
That's what we did at
Finn, I tell you, we win that sevens league.
Listen, you've done one season in sixes and you won the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
what more can you do?
We need to retire.
You're like Mourinho. You've done everything you can do.
Even if we don't win it.
Now it's time to move on.
No, it's a little small club.
We're going to take over
The thing is, though, SMPU, they've always said they're not leaving sixes till they win the league. Say, God forbid they do win tonight. Hopefully they don't. But say they clear off.
Why would you even say that?
Say they clear off. Touch wood. Say they clear off. Do we stay in sixes and just batter everyone and make a statement that we're still here to we're out for blood?
No, so they are.
What more can you do in the sixes? Other than just winning like 10 years in a row.
They are 100% leaving after this season, even if they don't.
Oh right.
So that's why we are still in their keeper at the end of the season. He will play. He's ordered a shirt. He loves it.
Yeah, but you can still win the league this year, right?
If we win tonight,
and then we need to beat Osrose, which is, I think it'll be harder than last time. But last time we had like a 50% team.
Yeah, we had such a makeshift team. We still do.
That was on Valentine's Day. You can imagine on Valentine's Day trying to get players is really really hard.
Well, they ordered their misses.
Yeah.
No
commitment to the club.
I still went though.
Yeah, you still went.
I sacked off a meal to come and.
Was it Archie?
I sacked off a meal to.
Yeah, he said to me, he's like,
Can you move your meal
I
a
was
few hours earlier?
trying to schedule his old dad. I was like, Archie, if you get a train here,
Yeah.
the meal there, and then you do it exactly that time, and come here and play.
Yeah, but we did win, and it was a good win. But we've got them again, and that won't be an easy game.
It won't be an easy game because they're like Madrid 2012.
It was
like,
basically a UFC fight.
When they're trying to kill Messi, that's like we're trying to kill Archie, just trying to eat his ankle.
Yeah.
What, SMPU?
No, I was
Rose.
Oh.
SMPU aren't really that dirty, to be honest. They're
part of the bus.
Yeah, they're part of the bus FC.
Like, grown blokes, right, with like families, turn on the six-a-side to park the bus against 15-year-olds. Like,
We can't say that anymore.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you remember they just sit in against
Yeah,
us?
no, I say like grown blokes. So they were like my age, am I a grown
Well,
bloke?
Well, yeah, technically. You could qualify as like that age.
I can't use the 15-year-olds anymore.
Yeah,
Because, like,
I think
it's like one player has just turned 16 now, so I can't say we're 15 anymore.
Yeah, I used to love it last year. We were going, I'm only 16.
Yeah,
like, leave it out. And now I'm like, I'm 18 in a
Yeah,
few
but you
months.
can't. I don't think you can get away with that. If you're playing against men, you're playing
It's a
against
man's
men.
game.
Yeah, well, we had a
You
game.
can't give it the old. It's like when I've played like Sunday League, and there's been like a chain like variation of ages. And if a bloke kicks off at a 17-year-old, someone goes, "Oh, leave out, mate. He's only 17." He's like, "Oh, shut up!" Like,
Yeah.
you can't say that he's playing in a men's game. If he doesn't want to play in a men's game at 17, just don't play it.
Yeah, because I was at Springfield, like, not pre-season, like the start of the season. I played a few games, and I accidentally left. I was playing in midfield, so side tackle central. I left one on this player, and he's like squared up to me, and I was about to bring out the I'm 17. I was like, I can't do it. I've got to go for it.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, then, let's have it. And then everyone just runs over. But we also had it in fives because some team kicked off against us. And we were all going, oh, we're only 15. He goes, oh, if it's a man's game, if you can't play like men, don't play. And then we went and beat him like 37.
Yeah.
So we shut them up. But
Welcome to men's football.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, we're like, oh, this is men's football. And we battered them.
33.
That must be quite demoralising though. Like you turn up with your powers and you'll think you're going to beat some kids, and then you
Yeah, I'm not being funny.
battered.
When we played that first game,
Yeah, they were
50-0? Was it
55-11.
55-11?
with Ben in goal as well.
Surely
so
that team, when they got home, was just like.
Oh, boring.
Yeah, you
First
can
game
go and play fives to enjoy it, but if you can see 55 goals,
The
like,
thing is though, we weren't.
where's the enjoyment in that?
The thing is, if you look back at it, we missed so many shots as well. Like we were just pinging shots at the goal.
I think I went and played for another team for about.
Yeah, you
10
did.
years.
You cleared off for half.
Yeah, I
of it,
don't know.
went on
Who
the
are you playing
sixes
for that
pitch.
though?
Because there's some mate from school.
Yeah, you cleared off and went on the other pitch, and you were like, "Oh, you boys don't need me." We still shelled in loads of goals. So
Yeah, and like last week we were playing a trialist team who had a free game, like an entry into the league. They didn't
they're
even
not
have a team
joining the
name.
league.
They didn't even have a team name, right? And we beat them 23-3. So I'm not sure if they're going to join the league or not after that.
And we put Joe in goal.
Oh, yeah,
we were
Joe's
doing
in goal.
roly-polies after we scored, so there's no chance they're joining. And they, like some of their players are wearing Air Forces, like they're obviously not up for it.
They're
They're
not
wearing Air
serious.
Forces to play. Even though I did wear trainers against SMPU because my
This
foot
is-
was
yeah, this
like
is-
in half.
This is the bad thing about having one league. It's such a gap in quality.
That's an hour 10.
Hour 20.
Hour 20, Jesus Christ!
I think it's really fun
Yeah, we-
saying that we're going to cut it down a bit.
Yeah, we've been
We're like, oh, we're
flying
going to keep
through.
it short.
Then we've
So
got
How long do you normally do?
hour. I'm not even there.
Mate, we've done La Masala before. Like when we had Danny Green on, I reckon we went for about over 2 hours.
I reckon
The amount of editing that I had to do.
Do you edit?
Oh, do you edit?
Yeah. Well, no, not anymore. Actually, we got
You've got a phone charger.
we got a lad to do like all the layout and like the graphics and stuff.
Yeah.
But I like chop it down to what we just want and I send it off to him. We just
Well,
We
they were-
basically covered.
We asked you so many things within
yeah, I know.
topics.
No, I'm not saying you didn't ask me any questions.
It
I
was
wasted
an
time.
interview.
I'm saying, yeah.
Because all the stuff
need it.
I had on my notes, like overview about SMPU game, did you enjoy the experience? What do you think of the highlights?
What's my address? What's that?
JG loves your trip.
What's
Where
your
did you
bank
get your
details?
haircut? We just need to know about the barn here.
Oh yeah, basically I get my hair cut
By your mum.
Yeah. But just basically majority of my life, yeah, my mum's a hairdresser. But I've been recently going to get my hair cut at a barber's called Robert Williams in Lee.
I'll let Josh know.
So if you're listening, JG, Robert Williams barber
Oh,
shop.
right, okay.
There you go, Crouchy.
Yeah,
Well, Thank you, Elliott. Flying off to America very soon. Bit last minute.
Safe flight.
Safe flight.
Thank you. I might make an appearance tonight. Depends on how many.
Oh yeah, I forgot you said yeah.
No, that is a bit awkward though, because 5 subs. You're gonna get about 3 minutes.
Josh,
I suppose you've.
Josh, Joe, Ollie, and who?
So
I suppose you've already confirmed
Josh,
the squad.
Joe,
Jesus,
Ollie,
come a long way. I'm not even making the
Kofi
squad
Edge, or Alf, and then Elliott. 5 subs. It's a whole nother team. But I do, tonight it's just about the experience. If we win, it's going to be scenes, right? So it's just about the experience of getting on the pitch, 5-10 minutes, enjoying the event.
No, you don't. No,
listen.
listen. You don't need me. I've been saying this to you. You don't need me.
No,
so you've got to make sure you got. If you lose, you might.
If you lose,
then I might have to start saying, listen, you do need me, but I'm going away, so you can't. You got Tankers have got to move on. Tankers is here before me.
True.
Tankers are here. We're here before me. Tankers will be here.
No, we weren't.
We
started with you.
We started
with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy one of them like €3 Ryanair flights. So fly back for a game.
We're gonna do a mural of you.
A statue outside the goal.
Yeah, we're actually done now.
Yeah, we are done. We've had Elliott on. It's been an hour
25.
An hour 25, our longest podcast yet, our second podcast. It's been brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on.
No worries.
Thank you,
Up the
Ramis.
Tankers.
Up the Tankers.
Up the Tankers.